Sometimes in the world of local media, stories happen. Sometimes stories so absolutely crazy, you have to actually read about them to believe them that they happened. And this is when it comes to local news reporting. This is why local news reporting is so important. So very important. But the story we're going to go over today is just so insane, so crazy. And it involves, believe it or not, an ex-Reform UK member, once again showing that Reform UK's vetting process is not very good. But we're going to go over to Doncaster because in Hadfield, there has been an absolutely insane situation going on there for the past 2 weeks. And I had no idea it was going on until someone actually brought it up. But it involves, like I say, the ex-Reform candidate because he got booted from the party. A guy called Michael Glynn, but he is still the current mayor of Hadfield. And oh my word, oh my word, not only does this involve a police incident where, again, they allegedly, we have to say allegedly because this is all still under investigation, they forced their way into the town council offices, demanded information from the town financial officer, who then said, I can't give you that information. And after this became, well, to a point where the police had to be called, he then fired her on the spot, which I'm also sure probably is going to have repercussions as well. But now it turns out that he's basically going on a absolute mad tirade, insulting people on Facebook, social media, everything you can possibly imagine. How this isn't a bigger story, I don't know, but it's insane that this is happening. And remember, this guy was the ex-Reform UK guy. So once again, showing Reform UK vetting at its best. Anyway, so before we continue, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button down below. Of course, there are links to the Patreon page where you can like, or you can, again, join the Patreon. You can buy me coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee, the YouTube thank you button, and of course, as always, the YouTube membership button as well. And of course, don't forget to ring the bell as well so you get notifications when we drop a new video or when we go live. So, as always, thank you very much to all those people, and let's get on into this absolutely insane story. Because, oh my word, this just honestly, it goes from like 0 to 60 in very, very quickly. So immediately, the title of this, Doncaster Town Mayor in, quote, arsewipe insult as now council crisis deepens. Anyway, a controversial and outspoken Doncaster town mayor has called a member of the public an asswipe as the crisis at our local now town council deepens. So, Councillor Michael Mick Glynn, the current mayor of Hadfield, posted an insult on Facebook as the Hatfield Town Council advertised now for a new clerk and financial officer, which, as you said, trust me, that we'll get into that story because that gets repeated, and I can't believe that happened itself. Anyway, earlier this month, a member of the staff and town council called the police after Councillor Glynn and his deputy mayor, Councillor Mark Broadhurst, forced their way into a woman's office demanding information they could not have. And at the latest series of series of controversies for the 75-year-old mayor, who has now previously been reprimanded over his use of language, because this is it. After the details of the job role were shared on social media, One member of the public wrote, "Who the F would want to work under the current leadership?" To which Councillor Glynn then responded, "Hopefully not an asswipe like you." Which, bear in mind, who would indeed want to work for the current leadership? The guy sounds an absolute delight to work for. Another comment read, "Everyone say hello to our local mayor representing the local communities by continuously abusing them online." Another person said, "I've said it before and I will continue to say it. The rest of the councils need to do a vote of no confidence in this horrible bullying little man." Councillor Glynn, of course, did not respond to comment when asked about this. However, the ads state that the Hatfield Town Council is now looking for a vacancy now for a clerk and responsible financial officer, and stated that Hatfield Council is now seeking a highly motivated person. The clerk and RRF is now responsible for all financial records at the council and the careful administration of its finances. The post is part-time, blah, 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 blah. So we still don't know what information they were after, but if it was financial records and things like that, you can't just hand those over. So and if they did, then the person who did the handing over might also be responsible as well. So earlier, of course, this month, Councillor Glynn and his deputy, Councillor Mark Broadhurst, allegedly forced their way into the staff offices at Hatfield Town Council, where Emma Marsden was working there alone. In the email, now seen by the Free Press, sent by Miss Marsden to all town councillors, Glynn and Broadhurst had a meeting arranged with Marsden for the next day. However, the pair then arrived at the town council office on August 11th and then entered the staff office and then refused to leave. Marsden then wrote that Glynn and Broadhurst then wanted information she believed they were not entitled to and needed permission from all councillors. South Yorkshire Police confirmed that they were called to the officers following reports of two men refusing to leave a building. The spokesperson said officers, of course, attended and spoke to the men, who then left the building with no criminal offences recorded. The ongoing problems are now just the latest series of events in which Glynn is now accused of very poor behaviour towards authority staff. Back in March of 2025, he was reprimanded by the City of Doncaster Council's Audit Subcommittee hearing, where he failed to treat the former council clerk, Claire McRoy, with respect. Glynn then attended a local community meeting, identifying himself as a local councillor, and proceeded then to shame and humiliate Miss McRoy in her absence. Who keeps voting for this guy? Who keeps voting for this guy? Glynn then blamed the slow progress then of a community project on the town clerk before calling her useless, ineffective, and not very good at a job. She then left her post as a council clerk before that hearing. Additionally, a subcommittee then heard that at a Hatfield Town Council meeting on October 14th in 2024, Glynn described a fractious debate with his female colleague as being like loose women. How this guy is still in his position, I don't know. The chair of the meeting, for the meeting, Councillor Deborah Smith, informed Councillor Glynn that his comment was then misogynistic. Neil McCurran, head of litigation and regulatory department monitoring office at the council, told the subcommittee hearing, looking at the matter objectively, I consider the term loose women, whether intended to cause offence or not, was very unnecessary and use of inappropriate language, sarcasm, and rude. Glynn was then ordered to make written apologies to the staff and other councillors and undertake training on the code of conduct. Gee, I wonder if we actually did that. The LDS, of course, then reported in June of 2025 that Hatfield Town Council was then on the brink of crisis, as staff said they were now looking for new employment after Glynn and Broadhurst were made the mayor and deputy mayor of Hatfield. I can't blame them. I can't blame them if they were looking for new employment, because they've probably heard all this and like, yeah, we want out of this. And of course, this is where Reform UK in, because Broadhurst was elected as a Reform UK councillor on the City of Doncaster Council in May of 2025, but was then expelled from the group weeks later, and is now currently sitting as an independent. Facebook groups from before his election to the council during his tenure at Hatfield Town Council compare, again, you've heard this all before, basically derogatory language towards Muslims. Surprise, surprise. The minutes, of course, of the Hatfield Town Council annual general meeting also showed Glynn's mayorship got off to a very rocky start at the annual meeting when officers then left the meeting after the mayor verbally attacked them. What? Earlier this month, both the locum clerk, Carrie Pillows, and the deputy clerk left the employment of the authority, leaving Marston as the only remaining member of the council's administrative team, and she's left as well. Who who is working? Who is working for this guy? Why haven't they gotten rid of him? I mean, that's his entire staff gone. What? Just what? Honestly, what? What? Pure insanity. Pure, absolute insanity. But there you go. Anyway, let me know what you think about all this down below. So as always, we'll see you all next time.